Welcome back. Hopefully you came back. Welcome to week 3. So this week starts out, I am in Adams County, Wisconsin, and I'm going to be doing a lot of voiceovers on this thing because the whispering into the phone is just horseshit audio. So I'm going to save you guys from having to listen to minutes of me just whispering in, and it's crackly. It sounds like hell. So don't be shocked when you hear a random voice pop out that doesn't match my lips. But so I start out, I'm hunting this clear cut. All right, so what I'm whispering about here and trying to explain is that I'm hunting the edge of this clear cut, and what's in front of me here is a bunch of hardwoods. It's a lot of acorns dropping and stuff. There's acorns dropping in the clear cut also. And I'm hunting on the top side of a transition line is what I'm getting at. So I'm hunting two edges. I'm hunting an edge of a transition line topographically, and I'm hunting the edge of a physical transition of two different types of woods. There's a lot of deer droppings in the area. They're feeding. It's obviously a staging area. So I got a south wind, which would normally be blowing back into that clear cut. But because it's morning and we have rising thermals and I'm on the side of this hillside, I did that intentionally and went in there because I knew that my scent would be getting drawn up that ridge. And that's what I'm showing here by dropping that milkweed. That morning, I kicked up a bunch of deer walking in and got the stand set up and sat, and I didn't see anything out of the stand. Heard some turkeys. Been hearing a lot of gobbling this fall. I can't remember any fall where I've ever even can remember hearing turkeys gobble. But I've had like 3 or 4 different mornings now where I've had toms gobbling in the mornings. Not a lot, but just a periodic gobble. I mean, I think one morning I had a tom gobble like maybe 4 or 5 times. But anyhow, so that evening, after not seeing anything, I slipped back in near where I had seen that one buck that I didn't pass him up. He was never in range, but that pretty good 10-point that's got the short G2s. That's a deer that I'm not really trying to kill. If he comes in and gives me a chip shot, I have to take it. You can't pass up a deer like that. But I'm not trying to chase that deer down. I'm actively hunting bigger deer. And if he slips up and gets in between me and them, then that's I'll be happy with it, and it's his mistake. So anyhow, in last week's video, I got a video of him doing a lot of feeding up in some briars and stuff. And I slip into actually that same patch of briars where he was nibbling in. There was a tree. It was a real pain in the butt. I wish that I had not done it because the wind started swirling on me, and by then it was too late. I don't think I saw a deer out of the stand that day. I'm pretty sure I didn't. I didn't record anything. The next morning, so this would have been Sunday morning, I could not decide where to hunt, man. I woke up in time to get in the dark, and I drove to a spot, got to the parking lot, changed my mind. I did this like 4 times before I ended up where I was originally going to go. And by this time, it's like well into the morning. I'm like, well, I'm just going to scout my way in. And this is a piece that I'm going to be hunting quite a bit now here in the future after this interaction. Is I'm walking in, and it's in this thick scrub oak, and I jump this deer. I can't see it, but I can hear it get up, take a couple bounds. So it was like boom, 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 and stopped. I'm like, well, that sounded like a buck. It was heavy, and it just stopped. And I waited for a while, and he never left. I couldn't see him. There's no point in going in after him. And he knows where I'm at. He's not going to... I'm in stuff that's thick enough where he's not going to, like hook around to kind of see where I'm at out of curiosity. It's just too thick. He's not going to come that close to me. So I'm like, all right, I might as well continue on. So I walked just a little bit further, and I kind of poked my head out from behind a scrub oak, and I see this buck, and I determined I'm not going to shoot this buck. So rather than putting an arrow in and trying to come up from behind the bush, I just kind of set my bow down, and I grab my phone and I come up and I start recording this deer. It's too big. It's 30 yards. Something through this clear cut. And he's actually a lot more impressive once he turns his head and he takes off. He's I believe he's 7x5 is what it looks like to me. So he's a 13 point. So he's a nice deer, and I'm really glad I didn't shoot him, because man, that'll be a deer that's going to be worth chasing after next year. Even if I get another opportunity on this deer, I am not going to take it. He's going to be a cool deer. He's a young deer. He's going to grow up into something really impressive if he makes it through another year or two. So anyhow, after this interaction, this is where I really get pissed off, because so that deer takes off, which is cool, and I pick out a tree that I'm going to work my way up to and just climb up and sit for a little bit in the morning, since I know the deer are on their feet still. And I take another, man, I don't know. I didn't make it another 5 yards. I took a few more steps, and damn it. So apparently I didn't hit record on the phone. So I just spent a bunch of time fucking not recording deer through the screen of my phone. I took like 5 steps to try to get to that tree there. And check the deer out. I'm bounding out of here. And he stopped right up there. And I should have a bunch of good footage of him, but I fucking never hit the record button. So, god damn it. But, nice buck. Not a giant, but a shooter. Uh-oh. The thermals are changing again. No, they're still falling. That's weird. My breath is going that way. Mercury's going that way. Yeah, so damn it. I'm sorry. I'm mad at myself right now for not hitting record, because I fucking was thinking I was recording them the whole time. God damn it. But I kicked up a nice deer. After I said I was going to go to this tree over here, I took like 5 steps, just real quiet. And the deer that I had kicked up earlier before that last buck, that had to have been him, because he got up. I heard him take a couple of heavy bounds and then stopped. And then he must have continued working right here. And when I hit this opening, he seen me and bounded out and went up over into that way. So, shit, man, I'm so mad that I didn't get it on video, because I pointing the phone, I had him on the screen, I just didn't hit record. So after that interaction, I went up this tree that I had originally planned on going up. I sat in it for a few hours, didn't see anything else out of the stand, packed up and got out of there. All right, so I just pulled into the hunting spot. Make sure there was no identifying markers behind me. And I'm trying to decide. So I guess there's more to the story than what you guys know so far. So last night when I was walking out of the woods, I was coming down this access trail, and I bumped a deer, and it was a big deer. I couldn't see it, but I could hear it. When you hear a heavy deer bounding, boom, boom, boom. And it was about the same depth into the clear cut as the transition that I was taking this morning, where I ran into those 2 bucks. And I kind of suspect that the big one that I thought I got on film that I didn't actually hit the record button on, the shooter that I saw this morning, I kind of suspect that it was him. So I bumped him last night. I triple bumped him this morning. So I was walking in, and I was about 20 yards away from him. Never saw him. He was in this thick oak scrub brush. And I heard him get up, take 2 bounds, boom, 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 and stop. And I stopped for a while, and I held up, and he wasn't moving. So I was in a spot where I could kind of continue on, just easing my way through the woods or through the cut here. So I kept going, and never heard him take off or nothing. And then I didn't make it another 10, 15 yards, and that's when I had that encounter with that buck that I did get on film. So after that, I had made a plan for the tree that I was going to go sit in. And that first buck that I initially jumped, that I didn't know was a buck at the time, I bumped him again. I just took like 5 more steps, and I bumped him again. He ran out in front of me. That's when I thought I filmed him. He stopped. He got up on this mound, and he turned around. He stood there, and he watched me, and I watched him, and we looked at each other for nearly a minute or so. Probably 30 seconds maybe, and then over the mound that he was standing on. So I bumped him, I triple bumped him this morning, and I bumped him last night. So here's the thing: I know where he is right now. So do you hunt him? You so rarely know where a deer is. So do I go hunt him, even though I've bumped him a couple of times here? Is he going to come back this way? I have no idea. Do I keep putting pressure on him, or do I back out and hunt another area? I got plenty of other areas I can hunt. But it's kind of hard not to hunt when, kind of hard not to hunt him when you know where he's at. So what I'm going to do, and I'm not saying this is the right thing. In fact, comment down below what you would do in this situation, because I genuinely think this is one of them deals where it's like I don't know what the right answer is. So I'm curious what everybody else thinks the right answer is. If I should go in. Now I'm not sitting in the same spots. I haven't been in the same tree twice yet, but I've been bouncing around. I'll be in a spot here, and then I'll be, as a crow flies, 250 yards over that way, and then I might bounce back and I'll be over here, and then I'll be over here. So I'm covering a big chunk of ground, and I'm super random. There's no way to predict where I'm going to be. And they still keep coming out into this piece. And this is the first time that I've been actually busted during shooting hours by them. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I'll tell you what I'm going to do with the caveat of, so I'm going to try to slip in. Just picture an L. So this deer went left the public into some private, and at this point in the L. So it kind of bumps out and it's public back over here. I'm going to slip into this corner where there's a kind of a drainage, isn't the right word, but it does kind of lay out like a drainage that comes out of this private where I filmed where I filmed that other deer last week, Saturday. It wasn't the same deer. This is a different deer. I think that if he does make it back into the public, that's the route that he's going to come up through. So that I'm going to sit that. Now we're going to have a southeast wind, so that's going to be putting my wind out like complete perfect direction, but then it's going to be changing to east. And if that wind hits this hillside, my wind might roll back down into where he's coming. So my plan is tonight, I'm going to start working my way down into through the side hill of that drainage and try to get set up close to where I think he's going to come out, if he comes out, and get set up there. But if I get down there and I start feeling like I'm getting kind of wonky thermals, I'm going to try to stay high so I can avoid that. But, in the evening, we're going to have an east wind, and then the thermals. So we'll see if the wind overpowers the thermals. If I stay on the very top, I think I'll be okay because it's not that it's not that big of a hill, so it's not going to have a lot of pull. But I guess it'll be another learning experience, whether or not there's enough. I'll kind of get to see how much elevation it takes to overcome wind, and elevation versus wind type deal, thermals against the wind. So it'll be something kind of interesting to learn, I guess. And the sun's been beating down on this side of it, so that'll help me because that'll still want to pull everything. And I don't know if I'm thinking about that right or not. So I guess I'm just going to go in there and learn is what I'm going to do. But if I start feeling like this ain't the right move, I'm going to back out and do something different. There's other places that I can just hop across the trail and go scout some other areas that I haven't yet scouted. So I bet you that was long and boring. What should I do? You tell me. This isn't the exact spot that I planned on ending up, but I figured I'd give it a shot. But this is that same ridge line that I'm talking about, and this low spot is the kind of like a drainage that I described it as. It's just a low area. It's a ravine, kind of mini ravine. So I think the bucks, come out of this low area. Thermals are pulling down. They're going to come out down in this bottom right here, and hopefully come up the top towards me, and not out that way. But I will be able to see them if they come out on this side of the bottom. So we're going to get a little less in the thermals today, whether or not we're going to suck in from here. So right now our wind is perfect. It's drifting off behind us. So if something comes out of here and up through here, we got a shot at it. It's not a bad rub. It's about mid-thigh height. Well, tonight didn't see any bucks. Saw 3 does. Filmed 2 of them. Tomorrow's another day. All right, so Sunday evening, I slipped back into the same clear cut that I've been working. I hit a different corner of it. I'm kind of pushing in a little bit deeper than I'd like to, but I don't know. It just seemed like the right move on that day. In hindsight, I kind of wish I hadn't gone in there because I kind of feel like I, kind of gave away the situation by leaving my scent in there after, But at the time, I'm going in there and I'm like, I'm going in to kill, So it's kind of what you got to do. I went in there to kill and I just never saw him. So this morning, I'm back in the clear cut again, the same one I've been hunting. And I wanted to slip into that spot that I set in yesterday morning that I had gotten set up for a stand and stuff. But walking back there, I kept kicking up deer, and I was just like, screw it. I don't want to go sit and not see nothing all morning after kicking all the deer out. So I'm scouting right now, and I'm a little section of it that I haven't been yet. And coming upon one of these branch busters, just like what we had found last week. That deer was going around and breaking all the brush off down at the ground. And like I said, I've seen that in in this part of the state before. There was a buck that was doing a lot of that, just going around to all the bushes and just like breaking them down to nothing. But, so it's not that old. That's probably not more than a couple days. The leaves on there are still green. So they're over in this section of it too, for sure. So I'm just gonna keep scouting and kind of following the transition line, and seeing what this area is like, and marking some potential spots to set up in the future. So yeah, not a good morning, but could be worse. So screw it. So we got another good sized bed, and I bet you this was from last night. It's a good sized deer. This might be a buck. It's hard to say. It's kind of up on top of a hill, so if I had to guess, I think that it's more of a spotted doe laid down, but judging by the size of this, it's a big deer, so it probably is a buck. But you can see, if you look, it's got the lima bean shape, so its back was right through here. And if you look closely, you can actually see right there is where its hoofs were sticking into the grass a little bit, the way it was laying. So I had to stop and take my sweatshirt off because I was getting overheated. But I've been scouting through this area here, and I'm not really seeing near as much deer sign. There's some deer sign, but not nearly as much as what I was seeing over in other parts. So I'm kind of sitting here and I'm thinking, I'm like, well, what is the difference between here and there? And I think there's two things. There's a lot more trees over here, and I kind of think that they're avoiding trees. I've heard that in some studies and stuff like that, where guys have been tracking big bucks, and that they find that the big buck doesn't go near a tree and stuff like that. And I do kind of think that might have something to do with it. But the other thing that I'm noticing is we got a really big diversity of different types of I don't know what you call it, forabs or something like that. A lot of different green shit they can eat. And there's no scrub oak in here. And there's a lot of scrub oak over in that other piece. And I think that's what's really keeping them in. I think that's the primary thing, is the scrub oak. Because I'm going to be coming out into a point where I've kicked up deer a bunch of times just walking down a walking trail. And this is going to be tapering into where it's a little drier, where there's the scrub oaks and stuff up there. And I'm expecting I'm going to start getting in a deer sign once I get up there. But I really haven't seen a whole lot in here for quite a while now. So just something to kind of think about for this time of year. I think earlier in the year, this would have been the hot spot. But I'm not really seeing a whole lot of sign to back that up. Yeah, a little teeny old historical rub here. But yeah, not a lot of buck sign in here, that's for sure. So I just kind of got up a little higher in elevation here, and I'm getting into the scrub oak, and immediately I'm finding a lot more kind of feet, deer trails and stuff running through here. I haven't really come across too many beds, but man, look at the size of this track. That is a really, really big track. So that lines up with the drainage that I was hunting last night.
That not really a drainage, but you guys know what I'm talking about. That little ravine that comes up through here. That'll lead you up into this top. So one of them big ones is come up through here.
So Monday morning, I took Kenny out to a new bar slash place where you can get breakfast, and it disappointed. They were like out of everything. It was pretty sad. Last time I was there, it was really good. So kind of let Kenny down on that one. But I saw this cool sign, so you get something out of it. So after breakfast, I wanted to make sure, because I've been hunting my ass off here, and my bow has been up and down the tree a bunch of times. So I always like to check zero on it a couple times. I really don't get to practice much throughout the season just because I'm so busy working and hunting, and there's not much time for anything else. So I did check zero on it on Monday morning, and I made a new camera mount for my bow, for new phone mount for screws on behind the stabilizer. You can buy them. I made mine, but you can buy them. And kind of sucks. So the autofocus on the phone, when you shoot, it tries to focus on the arrow as it leaves the bow, and then it makes the background blurry, and it's really garbage footage. So I'm kind of disappointed about that. You can um, hit manual lock on the phone, but you're not going to do that when there's a deer out in front of you. It's too late by then. If you're holding your bow up, you can't reach down there and hit manual focus on your phone and then draw back and shoot it. That's stupid. So I'm really disappointed with the bow phone mount.
I am like the master of jumping deer. Truck is right behind those trees. 100 yards. Already jumped a deer. Didn't see it, but it was a heavy animal also. Heard it crash in the creek. So, typical. Anyhow, I'm hunting a piece that I've never even been in. I shouldn't say that. I scouted about 2/3 of it. I put Cody in here last night, and he saw a bunch of deer. So, he was hunting edges, and I'm going to hunt a train feature to the east of where he was at by quite a bit, but in the same section that I have not been in yet. So I'm slipping in right now to do that, and I kind of see what I find once I get in here.
That day was a shit show, literally, man. I don't know what I ate, but I had the shit so bad. I took a shit as soon as I got in the parking lot, and then I took another shit while I was in the woods. And the whole time I'm up in the tree, I'm trying not to shit my pants again. And some fucking asshole is bahan around on a UTV. I never saw him, but I could hear him, and he's bumping deer out all over. I had like 5 different deer come running by me, not right by me, out of range, of course, but none of them were big bucks that I saw. So yeah, it was a shitty hunt, literally, man. I got out of there, and I think I probably took another shit when I got back to the trailer. My stomach was just rumbling.
So this hunt isn't off to a very good start. Fucking asshole is driving a 4-wheeler.
All right, so Tuesday morning, I'm back in the same clear cut that I've been kind of dissecting, and I hunt this tree that I had picked during some previous scouting in season this year, and it was kind of a nice, easy tree to slip into. It was just kind of off the main trail. Uh, while I'm climbing it, I bust some deer. You'll see that in the video.
just took than what he did in real life. I hope that was that smaller one that I passed up the other day. He was with another deer that I believe was a doe. Right down in here. I slipped into where I'm at the base of the tree. I'm climbing up the tree. Got one step up. These deer gotta be terrified of me. Hear that? Or like this bumbling fool just keeps telling us where he's at every day. I hate bumping deer, but what I hate bumping even more are bucks. There's the other deer that was with him. Alright, so it's 9:30 and I haven't seen a deer from the stand. Did see some turkeys. A bunch of toms came through, toms and jakes. So I'm gonna pack up and get out of here. So this season, been spending a lot of time kind of hunting these clear cuts so far, these old clear cuts. And I really kind of feel like I'm starting to get a pretty good grasp on how they work. I'm really kind of leveling up on my understanding of the way the bucks are using them. So I've been pressuring the one pretty hard, and I figured I wanted to try to find another area that was similar to it, but a little bit away from it, so it wasn't attached or nothing, kind of a separate piece altogether, and try to apply the same logic that I've been using over there to just pretty consistently get on deer in there. So I'm in a spot right now that I've never been to before. I've never scouted it. Just wanted to try something a little bit different tonight. Kind of ease back in there and apply some of the stuff that I've been applying on this other one and just see if it pans out. Plus, like I said, I've never been in here. It's still the same general area, so I can just have a little bit more information about where there's sign and where there's not. This particular area, I never see any cars in the parking lot. So we're going to find out shortly if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Boy, it is hot. The wind is supposed to be blowing this way, but my wind is actually going the opposite of what it's supposed to be doing. So I'm working my way back into here. And I was hoping this was going to be like a scrubble clear cut, but it's really kind of more like a wooded prairie. So it's not what I was looking for. So I'm going to keep going in a little bit further, and I'm going to J-hook back towards the truck and find a spot to set up back in there. Really not seeing anything very impressive for deer sign. Hardly any tracks. I'm not really seeing any historical rubs, no fresh rubs. Haven't jumped a deer yet. So just kind of keep poking around here and see what I see. I'm not really worried about messing it up because I got nothing invested in this piece. So just kind of see what I can learn. I'm just finally getting into an area where there's some beds. I really haven't seen much for sign at all up until this really ain't super great. I'm gonna keep working in. I might get up to the trees over there. And if I'm still finding decent sign, I might set up there. Otherwise, I'm gonna just keep working back to the truck. It's getting to be a lot of beds. And I do find it really interesting that they are right on the transition line of elevation that I was coming in here to test the theory. So this actually is kind of interesting because, like I I said, the sign has been really shitty in here. And the only spot that I find a decent sign is right on the elevation line that I expected it to be. So it's pretty interesting. That was a big doe.
Alright, so what I'm talking about here is I'm mentioning that rub is the first buck sign that I found, and that's after walking about 1.25 miles back there. So what I'm going to do here is that tree that's right behind me right now off my right hand shoulder, I'm going to end up setting back up in there. So this is that tree. See my wonderful view? It's so cool. It's kind of like a power line cut, but it's not actually a power line cut. I'm not sure why it's the way it is. But right there, that's where the buck sign is. And in a little while, so now I'm telling you that there's about 30 minutes left. So I did all this dicking around to get set up to sit for 30 minutes. And right at dark, I'm going to be packing up. Actually, it's not right at dark. It's well after dark. I heard a bunch of coyotes, so I sat late to see if a coyote would run through this opening here, and they didn't. So I start to pack up, and boom, there's deer.
Oh, shit. So that's the importance of having a quality stand. Doesn't matter what the brand is. I don't give a shit whether it's a Beast or a Lone Wolf or an XOP or something, but having a stand that can set up on these crooked trees and get you into spots that you wouldn't, it'd be pretty unsafe to be on a regular stand on something like this. Makes all the difference. So I just got busted by them couple of does, and it's well after legal. There were some coyotes howling, so I sat a little bit late hoping one of them would come through. But if they had come through 10 minutes earlier, they would have been right in the shooting lane. They're shooting over here. So that is it. I gotta head home. So be hunting back in southeastern Wisconsin the rest of the week. All right, so this early spring, I did a series of videos called Tracking Down a Wisconsin Giant on Southeastern Public Land, or something along those names was the series of videos. There's 3 videos, and I'm in that particular piece right now. So there you go, Joel. That's where I'm at tonight. I'm picking a spot that I scouted. Had some really good sign in it, but is extremely difficult to hunt. The wind is not good for most of the setups that I kind of had planned on. We got a wind out of the east. So I'm just kind of circling around in here. I want to see what there is for sign and just kind of, scratch that curiosity bone of what this piece is doing in season. So this is the first time that I've ever actually hunted here. I've only scouted it. So give it the old college try today. And yeah, we'll see. It's gonna suck. Nasty thick shit. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed here. This is where I was gonna slip in, and there's a pretty unmissable deer trail coming out of there. And I feel like any other guy hunting it. I mean, it's like the trail is so damn wide that I think guys have already been walking down it, to be honest. It's hard to tell on this grass. But it's definitely on other people's radar for sure. I'm going to slip in here and scout my way in there. I got a couple of trees out in front of me that I was thinking about getting into. I can't believe this trail is as big as it is. I mean, this is dumb. Somebody had to walk down here. But I'm going to check it out. We'll see. Maybe I'm just being pessimistic. Okay, so here's the setup. Not real far off the main walking trail. I can't believe nobody's ever set up in this tree. None of these branches are really trimmed out at all. A couple of them broken, but none of them are trimmed out. Like nobody's ever had a stand in here. Which is crazy. I would think that, man, this wind is really swirling. It's not great. Hopefully I'm low enough where a lot of my scent is just going to get sucked up by this stuff. Not good. Not good. What are you going to do? It is what it is at this point. I'm already in here. Alright, so I'm going to slip up in here. I got to take out a couple of little twigs so I can get some little windows. All in all, it's going to be a pretty cozy little setup here tonight. Okay, so I just got the stand set. It's at about belly button height, so I don't know, 3.5 feet, something like that. So this is the view from the ground. If you were to try to hunt from right here, less than 10 yards visibility, and then standing up. If you were sitting, it'd be like fucking 5 yards at the most. So I'm gonna get up in here and show you what I can see from the stand. It's pretty sweet. Just had a deer come in over here. I didn't get a great look at it. It was either a doe or a small buck. All right. So, there's a deer there. I had no idea there was a deer there. So, yeah, that was a successful sit. Saw what was either a little buck or a doe, I'm not sure. But it did end up catching my wind, but that's okay because it was in an area where I wasn't expecting to get a shot anyhow. So, kind of a cool little spot. It's what I think is an overlooked spot, both because it's very difficult to hunt. You know, there's no real good trees or anything to get set up in. And it is kind of, it's like right off the main trail, and it's not getting back into the timber. It's in the bullshit back here. And I knew that was a good area because I scouted it in the spring. And I found some really nice rubs in there. So, just wasn't the right night for it. But I'm glad I got in there and tried it out because that's a spot that I'll go back to either later this season or next season. You know, it's a setup that I know exists now. It's kind of all prepped up. So fun night. I was sitting on the edge of my seat the whole time, just ready to go. Like any second, the giant's gonna step out of that willow brush, but it didn't. So back home we go. All right. So tonight after hunting, I'm gonna do a little bit of stand maintenance here. I got my bandage wrap is getting pretty darn ratty, and my hockey tape is coming off my cables, and everything's getting sticky. So I'm gonna strip all this stuff off, and this is one of their early stands before they started beveling the edges, so they're really sharp on this stand. That's why it's wrapped to begin with. So I'm gonna get the angle grinder with the cat's paw and deburr this thing. I don't know if I'll get that far tonight, but I want to get it all stripped down. So tonight we're doing a little bit of stand maintenance.
So one thing that I did is I put just ever so slightly see if I can get this thing to focus on it a little better, a bevel on the tree bracket to kind of help that slide down the tree a little easier. I don't know, we'll see if that makes a difference or not, but I wanted to knock the edges off a little bit just so it wasn't so sharp. All right, got it all back together. She's ready to rock and roll for tomorrow's hunt. All that pretty stealth stripping.
This is a really crooked tree. You can see somebody set up in here years ago. They trimmed that out. This tree is gonna really suck to get set up in. I'm not very far from the canoe. I really don't want to do this. This is so much sticking out. This tree is really, really crooked. I know it doesn't look like it on camera, but it is a twisty, leany, really small tree. Just got done getting set up here. I'm not going to be able to use the camera arm tonight because this tree is too wiggly. So, and I only got a couple of really tight shoe lanes in here. So I'm not going to be able to move around with the camera arm. Just ain't going to happen tonight. So I'm going to film off my phone off the board, which is kind of lame, but it's better than nothing. Alright, I just got back to the canoe here, packed up. I didn't bump anything coming in that I know of. And I didn't see anything out of stand, and I didn't bump anything leaving either. So, I don't know, it was an interesting hunt. I'm glad I did it. I was dicking around with that stand. I reset the stand like 4 times because it kept sliding around the tree on me. The tree was so crooked and smooth. It would have been nice to have like one of them Ranger hybrids or something like that where it's got more teeth at the bottom. It could have camed in and bit better. It's one thing that I really don't like about the .5. Anybody want to buy a slightly used bow?
And I gotta say, tonight was kind of a lot of dicking around, but boy, it is a beautiful night. Not really the best temperatures for deer hunting, but shit, it's one of them nights that just feels good to be out. I ain't gonna lie. Would have been sweet to shoot a big buck though. That would have been a lot better, but whatever. You take what you can get.